Alright, so today we are playing Freeworlds Tides of War. Currently I am in a Dreadnought class capital ship, which is the largest ship that my pirate character can have. We've just entered into a conflict zone inside Kashyyyk, which is the system we are currently in. And we're going to see how we do. As you can see, I'm a little bit damaged already from some encounters yesterday. My health's currently only at 81%, but my shields are at 100%. It looks like an MC-30 frigate is what we're going to be battling against. Let's go ahead and get us into combat mode here. Let's see what we can do. MC-30 is pretty tough. Ooh, look at that big lolly heading my way. See the number of guns that are firing on the right side of the screen. I've got a lot of my double red light turbo lasers. Now this ship is more of a broadsider, so as we get closer and I get more into the broadside of my ship here, I can put more of those heavies firing. Currently I got about 3 of them shooting. There's 4. I'd like to get 5 going if I can. About to drop. About 9% left.
Shield fail.
I'm taking hull damage, which means these hits that I'm receiving is going to cost a lot more. Just a little bit of energy loss. Swing really close to these red heavy lights. Looks like we got about 500,000 for the kill, plus it dropped a bunch of heavy concussion missiles. Pick those up; those will be some extra money. Go ahead and turn these heavy lasers off. Now the heavy lasers are more like anti-fighter guns, not really anything worth shooting the capital ship with. Their range is just too small. But it's better than nothing when you're as close as I was to that MC-30. We did get about 500,000 bounty for that kill though, which is pretty good. Let's see here, my ship here. All these models are custom made. So why they look as good as they do for a game as old as this one is. I actually do have a docking bay right here. If I had another player with me, we could potentially have another ship in here. I've put out the call for people to come play. If they want to come kill some NR ships, they can come out to where I'm at currently in Kashyyyk and join up the fleet with me. Currently nobody's on, probably just timing issues. Then later this week I'll be going up against the GE, so you guys will be able to see a lot of the various GE ships that are available for fighting against and flying as a player. You'll find if you start playing this game, you'll pretty much see that the capital ships can be hard to get into due to the price of them and the amount of payouts fighters give. It's not very good payout wise. But once you're into the capital, it's kind of like moving between the fighters. You know, you get a fighter, you start working on getting new fighters, and you know it's really easy to shift between different fighters, but it's hard to get into a capital. Once you're into a capital, we get the same thing. You know, the capital's pretty easy to shift between, especially because as you get a stronger capital, you fight other stronger capitals, which are worth more money, so on and so forth. The cycle continues. But yeah, we got 2 more ships on an intercept course. Now these are enemy ships are appearing because I am near this planet here. If I wasn't near this planet, I wouldn't have enemy ships showing up to fight. You know, anytime you're near a friendly base, nothing will appear. But anytime you enter into a hostile base, you'll get that. So I got a C7700 and an MC40A. I don't know what MC40A is equipment, so let's do a quick scan. Medium turbos. Looks like a missile boat, basically, with ions. So let's go ahead and try and keep our distance from that, because I don't really want to fight that if I can help it. At least not with those missiles. So I just turned off my double red light turbos because they actually have really, really weak range. They only have about a 6,000 range, and I'm fighting at more like 9,000 right now. So what I'm going to do is try and keep this guy at range while I hit it with my heavy turbos. It looks like I'm going to end up closing that range anyway. Just not going to be able to avoid it. So turn on the doubles again now that they're a bit more in range. Although I'm not wasting shots here. He's got some ions, which are what those blue lasers are. And those are really hurting my shields. Ions are very, very effective at damaging shields. I kind of wish I had some right now because this guy's going to break my shields before I break his. Which is not good because he's a lot smaller than me. So really, he shouldn't be breaking my shields before I break his. And then we're going to have the problem with these missiles that are shooting. We're going to start hitting my equipment here. So we're going to try to keep him at about 5,000, 5,500 range, so that CC7700 doesn't engage me as well. We're just trying to lay some hurt down on this guy before my shields drop excessively. There they go. Now luckily, with his ions don't hurt my hull at all. So his actual ability to damage my hull is slower than my ability to damage his. But it does, all those missiles, if they actually make contact, will actually damage my ability to damage him, because it'll take out my equipment, knock out my turbo lasers. So we're going to shift around here, because I don't want to get too much into the front of him. Shift over here. So he's only done 2% hull damage to me, whereas you can see I've hit him for about 50%. But I am almost out of energy, which means that my guns are going to start firing slower. And of course his shields just came right back up. I'm going to try and hit him a few lasers as a turn. Go ahead and turn off these doubles since I'm outside the 6,000 meter range right here. I'm not going to be able to hit him with those guns while I turn. I'm just going to turn those off. That'll give me, allow me to keep firing my heavies while simultaneously letting my energy recharge a bit while I get within range of my double light system. Okay. Closing our range again.
Incoming missile.
Knock my shields down again here shortly. Now hopefully providing him the right side of my ship to hit this time instead of the left will help some of my equipment last a little bit longer, since I don't want to lose a turret. Those are very expensive to replace currently.
Turret lost.
And there went a turret. Fingers. So that would cost me about 200,000 right there for that turret I just lost from his lasers basically hitting my turrets while my shields are down. I could target his turrets and do the same thing, basically strip the guns off of him. But at the same time, that's kind of a pain in the ass thing to do because the guns do have spread. So as I'm shooting at them, I'll end up actually just wasting a lot of shots. They'll miss because they're trying to hit this tiny pinpoint target on them instead of just sort of hitting the center of this hull. Now the side of my ship is just covered in guns, which is why
shield restored.
Even though he's not targeting my guns, his likely to hit them because the sides of my ship are very compact with those kind of weapons. There he goes, now on to 7,700, which we got 700,000 for killing that MC-40. So that was pretty worth that bit of conflict there. We did lose a bit of hull, but the hull won't be that expensive to replace. However, the turret that I lost will be very expensive to replace comparatively. So what I'm doing here is I'm circling him while trying to keep my ship adjusted so that I have optimal firing angle broadside, since this is a broadside style capital ship. Just basically trying to keep him in my sights as much as possible. I'm about to lose my shield. There we go. That's because not only does he hit me with regular lasers, he's also hitting me with ions, which again does do a lot of shield damage per shot. I'd like to get a few ions. I could probably replace some of my red heavy lasers with ions to make me a bit more anti-capital. Be a bit more effective at that, and I could switch them on and off as I needed. But at the same time, I don't care that much. For the most part, it doesn't matter. But just like that, he's gone. Yeah, I'm getting a little damaged here, so I'll probably run off now for some repairs. Get out of that this type of spring mode. And my weapons are still on cooldown. So basically, after you shoot, you have to wait a certain amount of time before you can use your sublight engines. This is just to prevent people from hitting and running all the time. Keeps people in their regular sublight speeds instead of their maximum speed. Makes the game a bit more fair when it comes to that. You can't hit somebody and then immediately boost away at 4 times your normal speed just to avoid getting hit back. So, go ahead and start to accelerate here. And we're going to do a straight jump to Slaheron. I think is how you pronounce that. Probably not. We're going to try and jump in near YouTube jump point because I don't have to spend a lot of time trying to calculate another jump. Whereas if I use the pre-calculated jump, which are the ones that have jump holes between the systems, that'll actually save me a lot of time. However, since I'm doing a 2-system jump here, because the Dreadnought has a hyperdrive that can do that, you'll see here that my calculation percent won't actually reach 100%. It's actually only going to hit about 90%. And for those of you who may have missed it, setting a jump point, what you have to do is you have to go to somewhere on the map where you want to go, and left click and then do set waypoint. Now most craft only can jump 1 system at a time. Some can jump 2. This particular ship can jump 2. So I set 2 jumps out, and then you hold down your center button and do your mouse wheel button and then do calculate jump. If you just have a target selected in your system, like let's say a station, you could do calculate jump to target. That allows you to basically set a waypoint like this to create an in-system jump to that target directly. Now I hit J to start the jump. I enter into hyperspace. Right now I'm in hyperspace. This is telling me how far I am from the edge of the wormhole that I'm in, this little warp tunnel. This right here is a map of the warp tunnel. If I'm at 100% calculation, this tunnel is perfectly straight. No surprises that way. However, this particular one, because it was only 90%, has a small bit of change to it, which is why you see the distance to edge changing, and I'm having to do manual adjustments as I go through the warp tunnel. Very minor adjustments, not big ones. If you only calculate like 10% of your jump, you'll see a major twists and turns inside your warp tunnel. You know, if you can get good at navigating your warp tunnel, then that can be a very rapid way of getting from place to place. Now, I've already arrived at my destination, which is excellent, which was right near that pre-calculated jump hole, so I'm going to go ahead and just get turned towards where that needs to go. And you see, even though I should be, you know, instead of having to take time to calculate another jump, I can go straight to this jump because it's a pre-calculated jump. I'm near the jump point, and I can align to the jump hole and go straight into it. Once I'm at 90% throttle, of course. And bam, we're through there again. Now this one's calculated to 100%. So you'll see I'm not going to touch any of the controls. And you'll notice that this distance to edge here, it's never going to move. It's just going to stay there. I'm going to just stay at 2304 because this tunnel is perfectly straight. You know, this tunnel map right here, perfectly straight. No adjustments needed. Now the distance, the time it takes to go between the jumps varies greatly. Sometimes it's really quick like this one. Other times it seems like you're in the warp tunnel for days. But you know, that's just kind of how that plays out. Now the only place here in this system that I can actually dock at is over here near the repair shipyards. These are literally the only ones I can dock at, unfortunately. So we're going to go ahead and calculate this in-system jump. So I set the waypoint, and then I use my middle mouse button, open up my warp point to calculate jump, and that creates this custom one. Now the blue you're seeing around me are the pre-calculated jumps and in-system jumps that are trying to say, hey, you can go this way if you want, but I want to go this way because I'm headed to the repair yards so I can fix my dreadnought. Now my character is a pirate, so he can only land hit this dreadnought because the dreadnought's so large at this one location. If you play NR, GE, anything like that, you know, you're going to be able to land in all sorts of locations, even with dreadnoughts and whatnot like that, and even bigger capital ships. But as a pirate, I can currently, as of this patch, only land at this one location. Alright, so I'm going to select the repair yards. I'm going to say, I want to dock.
Denied. Destination is too far.
It said it's too far. I'm too far away. So let's give it a couple more seconds.
Dock. Denied. Destination is too far.
Alright, so let's go ahead and get turned here. And get moving a little bit quicker. Obviously I'm too far away from the docking point for it to let me do it. So we'll get scooted up over here and try again. But you can also press F3 to try and dock.
Dock.
There we go. And that time it let me do it because from the first point here, I was more than 10k out. That's why it wouldn't allow me to dock. But now that I'm not more than 10k out, it gives me my guiding vectors. Now normally if you're in a fighter, this is a lot easier. In a big capital ship, docking is kind of a pain in the butt. You got to really reduce your speed, and it takes a long time to make these really minor turns. You got to pass through all of these points here. Now my ship is also long enough that once I get into the middle, kind of like this, I'll be able to just hit all the points kind of at once. Normally, when in a smaller ship, you'll just kind of glide through them all. Yeah, I'm already on the last one. Here we go, and this should dock me here in just a second. Alrighty, I am docked. I'm inside the station. popping right up at first is ship repair, because my hull to my ship is damaged. Now, and I also have lots of damaged weapons. Now my hull itself is damaged for over $1 million worth of damage. And then I have lots of damaged turbo lasers and heavy turbo lasers and that kind of thing. So that's going to cost me 1.2 million to repair.
Repair complete.
Which, not that big of a deal, because we made about that just on that one encounter that you saw, and I was already damaged when we started that. And I'm also down one double red light turbo laser. So, if we come over here, we can find the double... You can get a red medium. That'd have a longer range than the double light that I've been using. But also has half the fire rate. So if I kept enemies at a distance, this could be better, because I have a 10,000 range on it. Whereas these doubles have 6,000 range, but twice the fire rate. So that's kind of that's something to consider there. The damage isn't quite double though for using the medium turret, so that means that my overall damage per second would actually go down pretty substantially. Let's see here, what else we got in here? Green heavy turbo laser. Now I'm already using a red heavy turbo laser, and you can see these guys are very expensive. These are my my big guys that I shoot at 16,000 away. Let's see here. Do we want to use one of these maybe? Nah, we'll just keep the layout the way it is. I know it was only 100,000 for the turret, so that's actually not too bad. I thought it was going to be closer to 200, so that's a good thing that's cheaper. But what we can do is look at these red heavy lasers. So if we unequip one of them, we can see what we can put into that slot there. So can't put a double laser in there, but I might be able to fit some sort of ion in there. So this ion has a range of 4,500, which we're within that pretty often, and does 5,000 shield damage. Now the actual laser itself has a range of 2,000 and only does 500 shield damage and 1,000 hull damage. So that would take out a fighter pretty easily if I hit him with this red heavy laser. And it travels at a pretty good speed. 2,000 is pretty good to hit a fighter. Fire rate's not bad, and it costs 5,000 energy. This one takes a lot of energy to do that 5,000 damage. So I mean that's the equivalent of these double greens, or these double light turbo lasers as far as energy per shot. So may not actually be worth the use of that. However, we have regular light turbos here that they do almost as much shield damage and do a lot more hull damage. They're slow to fire, but I can turn these on and off as I need to. So what I think I'll do is I'll sell all these heavy lasers, and then go ahead and replace all these heavy lasers with more turbos. More turbo lasers, because then I'll have more damage per second on the overall enemy, while also at the same time having a substantially higher power cost to shoot, but I can flip these on and off as I need them. I don't have to be using them. Yeah, I think that's what we'll go with here. So if we go with these guys, what about this? This is the same cost, a little bit higher cost to shoot, and they fire double the rate though. So they have a much higher DPS than these red light turbo lasers. However, they also have a substantially higher energy cost due to the rate of fire to their energy cost. So it may not be worth it on that one. But these mediums are not too shabby, and if I'm replacing these lights with the mediums anyway, it might be worth it. So let's take a quick look at that. So let's go ahead and sell this back for the full purchase price real quick. And let's think about this for a second. If I replace this one with a $150,000 gun, I would need, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I need like 18 of these or so. That would cost me about $3 million. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll get rid of these double reds. And this will, my DPS won't actually change that much since I'm also replacing the small lasers with the regular turbos, which I normally don't use the small lasers at all. So my actual energy change isn't going to be that different, and neither is my actual DPS. However, I will have a substantially larger range that I can actually engage these enemies at, which that'll be nice. Alrighty, where are we looking here? We also have these medium ion turrets that we could potentially put a couple on. They do a ton of shield damage, but they also have a lot of energy use, and they do no hull damage. So they wouldn't help once the shields are down, but they might help on as we knock the shields down. Now, I think I'm just gonna go with more of these regular turbo lasers because I like to do a lot of hull damage.
Mounted. 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 Mounted.
Okay, there's 20 green medium turbo lasers. So we still have all these lights that we can fill though. So we're gonna go back down to, where was it? Here we go. Light turbo lasers. So then we'll put these guys on.
Mounted. 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 Mounted.
So there's 10 of those. And we also can still sell these heavy concussion missiles. And you see there we picked up 20 of those from that missile boat that was shooting at us. And that nets me another 600,000. So that basically pays for all the smaller cannons here. Maybe not quite, but pretty close to. Actually, yeah, because we made 600,000 off that, and I spent about 10 of these at 50,000 a piece. So I spent 500,000. So we actually made 100,000 as well. So that's all done now. My ship's outfitted. Let's go take her on a test run. I do have this problem with clipping when you're coming out of the shipyard with this particular ship. It just happens. There's nothing anybody can really do about it. You can see here my hyperspace is not going to be ready for another 160 seconds. That means I can't even plot my jump for another 160 seconds. That's to prevent people from jumping out of a station with a brand new ship and immediately going into warp, especially if they are or go into hyperspace, not warp, this isn't Star Trek, if they are like a trader or something like that. And there's no reason why a warship would be able to come straight off of dry dock, which is basically where we just took it from, and go straight into hyperspace as well. It needs time for the hyperspace engine to spool up and everything like that. Now, I actually turned too far. I'm going to be doing a double jump again, but this time we'll be jumping into Randon. Right over here by the Kashyyyk pre-calculated jump. But again, we can't do that for another 100 seconds. Ticking away here. 70 seconds, 75 seconds-ish to go before we will be able to make this jump into hyperspace. Or at least before we can start calculating the jump into hyperspace. Alrighty, looks like that got done while I wasn't paying attention. So let's go ahead and set this jump here to Randon, right by the Kashyyyk waypoint. Let's see if I can jump there. There might be some stuff in the way. Nope, I was able to do it. Sweet. That should make things a lot easier. Go. Alrighty, looks like we are ready to go. Jumping into hyperspace now. This will put us right by the pre-calc again. We'll be able to jump in through the pre-calculated trajectory again, and we'll then be in Kashyyyk. Then we just need to do an in-system jump to the conflict zone. And since I'm a pirate, pretty much any planet is a conflict zone for me, except for the huts and pirate bases. Those are the only two areas that I can actually hang out in and be able to not be attacked by somebody. So, as you can see there, my distance to edge got really close for a second there. You could actually see through the edge a little bit, like that. Oh, and I just bounced off that wall. Now, when you bounce off the wall, what happens is the tunnel actually gets smaller as it starts to collapse, basically. If you bounce off the edge too many times, it'll kick you out of the hyperspace tunnel, and then you basically appear in a random location along your route towards where you were intending. Except your shields are going to be down, and your any cargo that you had, the ammunition, that kind of stuff, all of that's going to be gone, basically ripped from your cargo hold from falling out of warp or out of hyperspace. Alrighty, we have arrived in system. So now we just need to set a point here and get down near the planet again so that we can be engaged by somebody. Calculate the target as we're coming around the corner here. Looks like it's directly behind me. Let's see here. Try to slow my ship down even more, try and get the turn going a little bit faster. Coming around. Alright, there we go. There's where we want to be pointed towards. The nice thing is, it takes this thing so long to turn around that by the time I actually get pointed on it, half the time it's done. Like that. And away we go. So when we come out of hyperspace here, we should be right at the planet's outer atmosphere, basically, which will allow enemies to engage us. I'm probably only going to have enough time to do maybe one or two skirmishes with the responding fleets before, unfortunately, we'll be needing to end this particular episode. So we'll see where we're at. Enter the conflict zone. That's what that says right here. Enter the conflict area. Hostile forces detected. That's me. I'm the hostile force. So now what's going to happen is I want to get into turret mode, which you press H to get into turret mode. That allows me to look around my ship. And then I want to see where the enemies are coming in. They're coming in over here. And they're coming in they're not too close, but they're close enough. And that battle frigate's honestly going to be the biggest issue, so I'm going to engage him first. Keep getting my craft to turn here. Get it tipped up. Okay. Closing in on that range there, so we're probably going to end up turning on these other green light turbo lasers here shortly. Oh, they're all engaging me now. That's not good, because that CC-7700 frigate's got a lot of ions, it looks like. That's not really good for me. However, my firepower, because for hull damage, has been turned up a little bit, and so the amount of damage I can really lay down on this guy will make this Corona battle class frigate. He's gonna get hurt here pretty badly here shortly, as these more and more of these hits land. Oh, there are a lot of ions incoming, so I'm probably gonna try and do some shifting here and put that battle class frigate between me and that 7700. That 7700's got a lot of ions firing at me. If I can get behind that 7700, which will happen here eventually, that'll make it so it can't be as combat effective against me. But this Corona, it doesn't matter. 360 battle effectiveness, so for the most part, I'm about to lose my shields again.
Shield
Corona
failed.
is pretty much gone at this point. Swap over to the other guy. I'm starting to circle around him too, so that's good. So most of his heavy hitting guns should eventually here drop off on their effectiveness of me as I get around to the back side here. There's a lot less firepower incoming. There's still a bunch of ions coming in. But the ions are no threat to my actual my hull, so I'm not hugely concerned about the ions that are coming in.
Restored.
Now what I could do if I wanted to is put some space between me and him, and use my lawn guns basically to my advantage, because between the medium turbos and heavy turbo, I have the majority of my damage can be dealt out at 10k out. And there we go. Those two are gone. So that guy paid me almost 300,000. And the guy previous to that, where's my information here? He paid out 422,000. So between the two of them, I got just over 700k, which is more than enough to buy all these green light turbo lasers, and paid off a pretty good chunk of money of that green medium turbo laser, because if you didn't notice, I had around 10 million before, almost 11. So got another 2 million to make up, and then we'll be in the green from our equipment change here. And it did take a little bit of hull damage, but not too bad, you know, like honestly not very much. So we're gonna get a little bit closer to the planet again, see if we can't cause it to spawn us another conflict fleet. And in the meantime, I'm gonna turn off those regular turbo lasers, because more than likely these enemies are going to come in around 15 to 20k out. So I have had them appear closer before, but it's pretty rare. So we'll get pointed down here and jump out of our turret view here. This will allow us better control of the ship, as well as give me the ability to increase the speed of my ship, so that we're closing in on the planet a little bit faster than we would. Okay, shields are almost all the way back up, and they are now full. So now we're just waiting for the enemy fleet to show up. There we go. Now it recognized me as being in the area. Entered a conflict zone. Hostile force detected. Again, that's me. So let's see what it brings in to defend against me. 3 hostile ships. That is a lot of ships, and they are coming in close, it looks like. I got a neutron star, a DP-70 gunship, and a CDC 7700. Now, the gunship is only a threat to me if I lose my shields, because its missiles do a lot of hull damage, but not a lot of shield damage. So I don't really have to worry about that as long as my shields stay up, which the only way I'm really going to be able to keep my shields up at this point is to keep my distance for the most part. This neutron star, or this bulk freighter is closing in fast though, so I'm going to activate all my guns, try and really put some hurt down on him real quick, because I see a lot of lasers heading my way, and I don't care for that at all. I'm already at 77% shields and dropping. That is not a good sign. Just my camera angle here. Circling around. Okay, our green lights are now out of range. You can kind of see them dissipating before they actually hit the target. So we're going to go ahead and turn those off. Let the rest of the lasers do their work. Now that we've got that guy, which that was 450,000, that's not too bad at all. We'll engage his DP-70 again from far range. Just trying to keep them out of range so that I can prevent too much damage to my hull, as that's very expensive to repair. We're letting a volley out. You can see him traveling out there. I'm almost at max range for these medium green turbo lasers, so I'll probably bring it in a bit. But they're sitting really close to that planet's edge, and the last thing I want to do is get caught up in that. If you hit the planet's inner atmosphere there, you'll actually burn up. So you don't want to have that happen, so I'm just going to try and slowly work my way around them. And do some damage to them while simultaneously staying away from the planet. The ship that I'm shooting at is really, really small. Compared to my current ship, so that's why it's having a bit of a hard time hitting. You see a lot of the lasers flying by. I mean, these guns that are on this dreadnought are making much bigger ships to be shooting at. We're closing in close now. Looks like that's going to be it for that guy. That's another 350,000 in bounties. That's pretty nice as well. Now the 7700 here, closing in close. We're about to turn on our last set of guns here. Now its guns are all pretty short range, otherwise it would have opened up on me already. So it's probably got under 6K guns, and yep, broke 6K, and here come the shots. So that's why that went the way it did. Why he wasn't shooting him before. Now what I could do, if I wanted to, is kind of kite this guy keep him at around 8 to 10k. He wouldn't be able to shoot at me, and I'd be able to kind of ping him off with my mediums, my heavies. But you know, with just being him, I'm not too concerned about taking a lot of damage from him. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a little closer, keep myself a little closer, and let my light turbos in on the action as well. Getting kind of behind me here, so I'm going to go ahead and start turning away from him. Well, so I don't want to get too close to the front. I'm already a bit closer than I feel comfortable being. He's going to try and flee, it looks like, probably because he's almost dead. One quick volley, that solved that problem. There's another 300,000 there. So you can see we're already catching up to that 3 million that we spent there re-outfitting this thing. We're already at 9.5. And that's basically it. That's kind of capital on capital battle. Each of the ships are a little bit different. You know, this is a dreadnought. So it's a side fighter, but you know, it's a broadsider. Now, not all of them are that way. Some of them are better firing downward an enemy, like down them in front and below them. Others, you know, it doesn't matter where they are, that kind of thing. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do an in-system jump here. So I just laid the waypoint, hold down middle mouse button, calculate jump.
Detected.
But I am inside a gravity well. That's what this symbol right here means. It means I am too close to this planet. This planet's keeping, planet's gravity is keeping me held in place. So I'm going to go ahead and kick on the sublight engines to full, which is 400%. And start accelerating. Now the way you do the sublight engines is you hold down shift and you scroll wheel up or hold W. I like to use the scroll wheel because it gets me up to 400% faster, and a lot of the fighters that can accelerate as fast as you can turn the engine up will respond better to that than, say, the capital ships. Capital ships don't really matter because they have such a slow acceleration anyway. I mean, I still haven't even, just barely entering into the 400% section right here of the engine speed. And we're already outside the gravity well. It's now gone. So I'm calculating that jump, and then in 20 seconds we'll go ahead and make the jump, and once we're out of the jump we'll probably call that good for today. We'll then be back later with more Freeworlds videos. Hopefully later on we'll get over to some GE space so we can start trashing some Star Destroyers. Ain't nothing better than killing some triangles, some space triangles. So we're just gonna go ahead and get near this Gottel base here in Kashyyyk, and then tomorrow we'll go we'll make some jumps. We'll get past Coruscant into Borlaeus, and in Borlaeus we will fight some GE, some Galactic Empire. And you'll kind of see the difference. I mean, the majority of the ships are going to be the same, because like the DP-20 and DP-70 and the Neutron Star and stuff like that, those are all going to have the same models. But we might be able to get a few flying triangles out of storage there to come try and bug me a bit and see how we can handle those. Alrighty, till then, have a good one.